We pop vitamins. We trust our doctors. Most of us anyway.
Right.
We grab whatever we need at the pharmacy. No problem.
Right.
But like, have you ever stopped and thought about how Western medicine became, I don't know, like the system it is today?
Interesting question.
So today we are going deep, really deep on exactly that.
Sounds fascinating.
And it all starts, would you believe it, with John D. Rockefeller.
Rockefeller. Most people, they just think oil, right? The tycoon, the magnate, built an empire on fossil fuel.
Well, exactly.
But what most people don't realize is that he had this huge part in shaping, like literally shaping, how we do medicine in the West. The business of it all.
Okay, so I'm hearing Rockefeller, oil, and medicine, and I gotta be honest, that's not exactly the combo I was expecting today. How does that even work?
Okay, so picture this. It's the early 1900s. Exciting times, right? New discoveries left and right, vitamins, all that. The whole world's like, science can make us healthier. It's a big deal. But, and here's the thing.
Okay.
This is also when natural remedies, herbs, all that traditional stuff, that was what most people used. Like, we're talking centuries of tradition here.
Wow. So you've got like this super new modern medicine thing happening at the same time as these old, well-established, I don't know, like folk practices, basically. What happens next?
So Rockefeller, classic businessman, right? He sees this brand new pharmaceutical industry, right? All fueled by those newfangled petrochemicals. And you know what he sees? Opportunity. Big time. He realizes he can make medicines, vitamins, and not just help people, but control the whole market. Oil, chemicals, meds, the whole shebang. He's thinking big picture, a whole network, and he's in charge.
Okay, now that is ambitious, but hold on. Like you were saying, natural remedies, they were everywhere, right? Everyone knew about them. How do you convince people to just drop all that generations of tradition and be like, nope, pills only now?
Yeah, that's where things get, how do I put it, interesting. So 1910, this report, it lands on the desks of Congress, right?
Yeah.
It's called the Flexner Report.
Yeah.
Looks all official, right? And on the surface, all it's saying is we need to standardize how we teach doctors.
Yeah, makes sense. Who doesn't want doctors to be properly trained?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, and there's a bit, but here, the report, guess who funded it?
Let me guess, Rockefeller.
Bingo. And it heavily criticizes alternative medicine practices, homeopathy, naturopathy, all that, basically labeled as unscientific, maybe even dangerous.
Hold up. So a report paid for by the guy who wants to sell new medicines just happens to say that everything else is bogus. I'm sensing a theme here.
You're catching on quick. Now look, it wasn't all just like bad-mouthing other stuff. The Flexner Report, it did point out some real issues. Back then, anyone could just be like, I'm a doctor. No real rules. So standardizing things, it made sense to a lot of people.
Yeah, quality control is a good thing.
But here's the thing, right? The way they did it, this Flexner Report, it was practically designed to make sure doctors only learned about pharmaceuticals. Like it was all set up to favor that.
So these medical schools rolling in Rockefeller's cash, they're not teaching about like herbal remedies or any of that old wives' tale stuff. It's all about the kind of medicine Rockefeller's selling.
Exactly. It's called allopathy. Basically, you treat an illness with something that does the opposite of the symptoms.
Okay.
So that became the gold standard, right? And everything else, homeopathy, naturopathy, even just eating right and taking care of yourself, it all got pushed aside.
Wow, it's crazy how fast things change when you control the information, right? And let's be real, the money. But it wasn't just about, like, quietly changing the textbooks, was it?
Oh, absolutely not. This is when things get, well, kind of ruthless.
Yeah.
Remember, we talked about controlling a market. If you want a monopoly, you can't just say your product is good. You got to make the competition look bad.
Right, but how do you do that exactly? It's not like they could just run an ad saying, like, forget your grandma's cough syrup, pills are better.
Exactly. Way too obvious. So they got sneaky. Real sneaky.
Yeah.
Cue the smear campaign. Newspapers, magazines, they all start printing stories about how natural remedies are dangerous, how they don't work, all that jazz.
Just shady.
And the doctors, who still use those traditional methods, they were labeled as quacks, frauds, stuck in the dark ages, all that.
It's amazing how, like, public opinion, it can be, I don't know, manipulated like that, you know? Yeah. But it wasn't just talk, right? There were actual, like, legal consequences.
Oh, yeah. Some doctors, they got arrested for practicing traditional medicine. Seriously. Their practices shut down, illegal, their names dragged through the mud. They wanted to make sure that any kind of medicine that wasn't on board with the whole pharmaceutical thing, it was finished.
Wow. Okay, so let's recap. You've got the schools, right? All paid for. Then there's that Flexner Report, changing the story about what good medicine even is. And then, to top it all off, this like all-out attack on anything that even looks like competition, Rockefeller really covered all his bases.
He did. And get this. It wasn't just America. Rockefeller, he's thinking global domination, right?
Mm-hmm.
He sets his sights on China.
China.
Yeah. He wanted to bring Western medicine there, maybe even replace traditional Chinese medicine entirely. That's been around for, what, thousands of years?
Wow. Talk about confidence. Or maybe just like arrogance. To think you can just waltz in and change an entire culture's medicine like that. But what happened? Did it work? Did he pull it off?
Luckily, no. Traditional Chinese medicine, that's deeply rooted, culture, philosophy, the whole deal. It was way too strong to just disappear. Western medicine, it got a foot in the door, but it never took over completely.
Phew. That's a relief. But it does make you wonder, like, what if things had gone differently in China? What if traditional Chinese medicine hadn't been so, I don't know, established?
It's a scary thought, isn't it? All that knowledge, gone. Just wiped out, and all for money.
Yeah. It's this whole thing, it really makes you think. We're talking money, power, who gets to decide what's true. It's a lot.
It is. And it shows us why it's so important to, think for ourselves. Don't just believe everything you hear, especially when it comes to our health.
I don't know about you, but I'm still processing all that. It's like, we have this medical system that's, capable of amazing things, right?
Right.
But at the same time, there's this whole other side, this like history of, I don't know, manipulation, control. It's a lot.
Yeah. It's complicated, that's for sure. And we're still dealing with the consequences today. Think about it. The U.S., we spend more on healthcare than any other country.
It's true.
But do we have the best health? Not even close.
Yeah, that's always bothered me. Like, how can we spend so much and still not be the healthiest?
Well, some people say it's because we're so focused on allopathy, just treating symptoms with drugs. It's all about treatment, not preventing problems in the first place.
It's true. We're always playing catch up, right? Like fixing things after they're broken instead of, just building a solid foundation.
Exactly. And while pharmaceuticals, they've done incredible things, some would say that focus has come at a cost. We're not exploring other therapies, lifestyle changes, the whole holistic approach.
It makes you think, what if that Flexner report had been different? Or what if they hadn't tried to bury all those other approaches? What would healthcare look like today?
$1 million question, right? Would we have a system that combines the best of both worlds, the cutting-edge technology and the ancient wisdom? Would we be more about prevention, about people taking charge of their own health? It's really interesting to think about.
It really is. Well, I think it's safe to say this deep dive has been, eye-opening. We've gone from oil to smear campaigns to the future of healthcare. Lots to ponder.
Absolutely. Yeah. But the biggest takeaway, I think, is simple. Don't just accept things as they are. Ask questions. Read, research, get different perspectives. Be your own advocate.
Yes, 100%. It's your health after all, right? And on that note, that's a wrap on this deep dive. Thanks for listening, everyone. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and we'll see you in the next one.